I would wish you a Merry Christmas, but I have my nose a little bit blocked, so I'm just going to say hello and welcome to the GMS Magazine Podcast. This is a podcast all about board games, role-playing games, and the people who make them. Sometimes the people who play them too. I am Paco Garcia, your co-host.
And this is Chris from GMS Magazine, your very festive host. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yes, you are. You're truly distilling the spirit of a Santa Claus wannabe.
Yes, I have my thing. My headphones are hanging just slightly precariously behind that, so it's doing its best.
You need to work. You need to work on that beard.
Yeah, no, this doesn't grow out well.
Okay.
And I'm also very afraid of my age, so I don't have a nice white beard. You're more Christmassy than me.
I am. Don't get me wrong. I love my beard because it's kind of like my signature. I cannot have anything done here up my hair because I have none, or well, I have very little. But my face, my beard is kind of. I do like it, but I wish it just made up its mind and went white.
Yeah, I think if I let this grow out, it does actually produce some gray, but there's not much. But we are talking about Christmas themed, and a quick little update. Talk about gift giving and other things. I was actually curious to see if there was actually how many Christmas themed board games there are. There's actually more than a few, and I thought we'd go over that and maybe some other things.
Yes, and I only know off the top of my head one Christmas themed role-playing game that I would recommend. I would recommend. Well, but never mind. We'll do that in a minute. Before that, though, we were talking just before we started recording, because humans, I know that we don't sound like it, but Chris and I are actually friends, and we do talk before the podcast, sometimes also after the podcast, and sometimes during the week in Facebook and things like that. But and even WhatsApp, I have your phone number. I can call you.
Yes, you can.
I could. It would be very expensive.
And your Christmas gift should be on your doorstep, hopefully quite soon.
I hope so. I did send today the customs forms, and I don't know if I have to pay any customs or not. I have no idea.
Not.
Me too. I did. When you have to put the description. Because they always ask you what it is, especially if it comes with an invoice. So I said, it's Christmas presents, just Christmas sweets.
Yeah. It was listed as a gift, but
Yeah, but because it has an invoice in it, the Department of Taxation will try their very, 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 very best to ask for money, because that's what they do. That's what they do. So we'll see. I don't mind. If I have to pay a few euros for it, doesn't bother me in the slightest. So we'll see. Hopefully, I will be able to give you an update the next time we record.
Yes, but discussing about what we talked about before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was kind of annoyed that last week. We talked about last week or the week before, I can't remember exactly, but we talked about how Evil Genius, despite the fact that I've had a private conversation with Dave Scott, where he said that he was going to look into the rest of his investors and see if they had anything to do with crypto, because he wasn't sure. And he was going to try to look for other means of investment for the company. All of it comes with another crypto-based investor investing in Evil Genius Games. So it was a bit like, yeah, you lied to my face, and I am not pleased about that. So we reported on that last week, and yet it's been the people from Rascal News, which, you know why I'm annoyed? Because I have absolutely nothing bad to say about them. Rascal are very professional. They are very thorough. They are actually very, very good in gaming journalism, and I cannot fault them. But they are taking the spotlight when we were there before, reporting on this and talking about it. So people from Rascal, you're welcome. We gave you the heads up. I will die on that hill, even if it is not true, because I don't know. But never mind. So yeah, that's what happened. So of course the annoyance is kind of a joke on my part. Don't cancel me. But yeah, it's been confirmed that Dave Scott is able to lie to people's faces. Surprise.
Yes, I was mentioning the fact that I got I wouldn't say dragged in. I got pulled into a conversation between me and our mutual friend Faith Elizabeth Lilly,
Mhm.
and an individual named Ziggy Tabletop Taurus. I actually don't know who this individual is, if they have a website or what have you, but they have over 1,000 subscribers on Blue Sky. And they said, annoyed to say that I kickstarted Everyday Heroes and now it's like ashes in my mouth. And and it's because plus one XP Real Philly Games, who have 2,000 followers on Blue Sky, posted, nice to see Evil Genius Blue Sky follow when our team directly refused to cover the games. EGG is an unethical shit show pursuing profits over people. Since Rascal News Blue Sky has real journalists on staff, they've already covered it. And then they post the link that you just mentioned, the Rascal News site from June 18th, which everyone knows about as we discussed it. And then obviously we have the Morris one. And Ziggy Tabletop Taurus, and this is this thread. And I want to get into just one or two things. I don't want to go into spend too much time to it. Could be worse. I paid for an Indie 5e book once and then found out the creator was liking tweets of some alt-right, possibly white supremacist stuff. And he asked what the correct book, what the book was. He did not get an answer. But he says, I am disappointed, says Ziggy Tabletop Taurus. D20 Modern deserved better. And that's when Faith, being the wonderful person that she is, says, there's an Ultra Modern 5, which is well done, but doesn't get much coverage. And Ziggy says, I just looked that up, and I think you've provided me with more than a suitable replacement. And I made a comment. That's when I got pulled in the conversation. And I said, Ultra Modern 5 predates Everyday Heroes by 5 years and still currently outsells it on drivethrurpg. We just don't have tech bro money backing our promotion. And Faith commented, not being owned by tech bro investors is definitely a positive. And I said, yeah, but Daddy could really use a handsome art budget for his next book.
Well, you could use stock art.
I like paying. I like paying for quality.
I was joking.
Yes. That was something because we, when the AI thing came over, I was just like, oh, great. We get to have some fun. And then all the ethics came into play, and it became, like I said, very sour.
Well,
and now the thing is like, you just like, but I also realized that there's a soul when you have an artist.
It makes quite a difference. So yeah.
But I'm also a weirdo in the fact that I believe art does speak, and I never really like when we have a game that has art from many different artists and you don't have a unified vision and just seems like art's there for art's sake. I really like it when I see books that have singular visions. That's one thing I appreciated. The old Palladium books that usually had only one or two artists. Some of the greatest games had one or two artists, or they had an art director. I always think of you probably don't remember this. I can't remember if it was Fantasy Flight that produced a Game of Thrones, a Song of Ice and Fire RPG. This was 15 some years ago. I think this is before the, you know it?
Yeah, well, I don't just know it. I own it, and I own both editions, the usual edition, and I also have the limited edition with the silver everything and the.
So you have the 3.5 Song of Ice and Fire, the 500-page book.
Twice.
Wow. I didn't get it. My friends got it, and they said like this, and they did not have nice things to say about it. And their criticism was rooted in what they felt was a vastly wide spectrum of art quality. The art ranged wildly in quality and style, and it didn't seem to have a unified vision, which I guess is
that's what happens when you don't have a proper art director.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to have a creative director and an art director who's the one that has to control, among many other things. Okay, it's not just that, but the
Yeah.
visual language, not just what artist, but what visual language is going to have, because there are ways to mix different artists and even different styles within the same book, but it has to be done very carefully and it has to be done very well. And if anybody ever needs to know exactly how that's done, talk to Johnny Hodgson, who is probably the best art director in the world of role-playing games ever.
And that's why I like usually really good films, really good productions. They have an art director or a production designer, and while that person can contribute to the art, they're also making sure the art coming through is consistent.
Yep.
And that's why Nick is not just an illustrator. Nick Greenwood, I work with, is kind of the art director, and I try to give him more control and more power.
Mhm.
And in future projects, I want to give him a lot more power and a lot more control. I always think of James Klein. James Klein is a production designer. He works in film. He does a lot of work. He recently did work on The Creator, Gareth Edwards' film, and to the point where like the entire visual language of the film is entirely rooted in just his vision. There wasn't anything that he did not pass through his filter. And in some cases, they would shoot a scene, and the director would take screenshots and give it to Klein. He would then paint over the still image to create the vision that they wanted. And then that was given to ILM to animate and make it as a visual scene. So they literally had a painted scene, painted digitally onto the still frame of the image and say, we want this, but in motion. And so ILM knew exactly what they needed to do. So and it just that type of creative control. But yeah, it's one of those situations that requires money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that requires a lot of money.
Well, interesting as that topic is, it's got nothing to do with what we were meant to be talking about tonight. So let me stop you there and do a very abrupt segue into Christmas. Okay, we're going to talk today about games to give to gamers for Christmas and gifts for the geek in your household, because everyone,
which you can see is very much related to money, because God knows how much money I spent this year.
Me too, and I don't want to talk about that. It's terrible. So anyway, I only have one role-playing game that I can think of off the top of my head that has impressed me enough to want to recommend to people for Christmas, and it is a fairly dark and weird role-playing game, and it's called Twas. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Twas?
T''WAS.
Oh, Twas. As in Twas the Night Before Christmas.
That's the name of the game. It's a game by Jonathan Green, who is as good a friend as he is a talented writer. He's done a shit ton of work over the last few years, and I have known that beautiful person for well over a decade. I remember sharing a very nice dinner at Fantasy Worldcon in 2013, and we already knew each other for a while by then. So highly recommend it. It's a very good game. Seriously, it's beautiful. It's on drivethrurpg, and it is completely and utterly Christmas themed. But it has a dark slant to it, so beware. It's not a game for children, and it's not a game for oh, let's be elves, ha ha ha, and Santa Claus is wonderful kind of thing. No. But that's one I would recommend. And I have a website full of gifts for geeks, but I think I would rather go into your list of games of Christmas topics.
That on a side, we could sit and brainstorm the darkest role-playing game setting that involves Christmas. Imagine, if you will, a setting where Santa Claus decides that too many people are naughty and nice, and instead he decides to, instead of giving a lump of coal, he just kills anybody who's on the naughty list. And you have this post-apocalyptic world where everyone's It reminds me of Futurama and the robotic Santa Claus that was evil and killing people.
I have something even more nightmarish. Santa has decided that actually people behave better during Christmas, so Christmas will forever be the season.
Every day is Christmas.
Every day's Christmas, everywhere, for fucking ever. And everybody has to buy the presents because Santa is not going to buy the presents for you. So you have to do whatever it takes to buy presents for children. Otherwise, Santa will come for you.
Oh, the best joke I heard from that was, I can't remember. It was like, why need mistletoe when you can have a tow missile? But let's talk about toys. Christmas themed board games. I was surprised.
Okay.
How many there are. I mean, let's ignore the Grinch, the version of the Clue, or Christmas Vacation Monopoly, or Christmasopoly, which is an actual thing. There is Santa's Rooftop Scramble. I thought I noticed there is a semi-official board game based off of the original. Oh, it's Santa approved. There is a board game based on the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Actually uses artwork for that.
Okay.
But like I said, these are children's games. I thought it was fascinating that there's a game that's called Final Girl. It's a board game that's been out for a bit, quite popular. Did you know that there is a North Pole Nightmare expansion for Final Girl?
I did not.
Yes, that was a surprise. That's probably one of the more kind of modern. There is Merry Madness, which is a game based on The Nightmare Before Christmas. And there are, if you can believe it, best explain it, there are escape room games based around Christmas.
Okay.
So yes, so if you are interested, I thought the Final Girl one was probably the most out there. I wasn't expecting that one. There's Penguin Rescue, Arctic Race. I don't know, like, for example, if you go to big block retailers, there's a new version of Azul.
Oh yes, I have seen that.
Called Master Chocolatier, which swaps out the tiles for chocolates.
That could be very dangerous.
Yes, I've seen that at Winners, which is a very, mechanically looks identical. They've just changed the theme of the game.
But didn't they release a pardon me, Azul Duel recently or something similar?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing the fact that this chocolatier version of Azul, you can find in big box retailers. Have you heard of the game called Boop?
Boop.
I've mentioned it. I did a review on it. There's two versions of Boop. It is a game where you have a mattress on a bed, and the bed is the box of the game, and you put wooden minis of cats, and you have kittens, and you have to basically leapfrog other kittens in order to create more kittens. And if you get enough of them, you can swap them out for a full-size cat. It is a very quick 2-player game. So basically the idea is that you don't hop skid, you bump. You basically can bump cats, and if you bump a kitten off the end, it goes away. But eventually you want to try to bump the other player's cats. You boop them off of the bed, or trying to get more of your cats on the bed. And if you get 3 kittens, you get a full-size cat. And if you get 3 cats on the bed, you win the game. That's the whole objective. Get 3 cats on the bed. But you have to do that while booping your other players off the bed. There is a Halloween version called Boo.
Okay.
And there is a Christmas version called Boop the Halls.
Okay.
The other thing I'll mention, and this is something I own, Carcassonne. The game that won't die, the game of 1,000 expansions and standalones. My biggest video I ever did for the Dice Tower, the one that almost kind of, you can say, went viral because it actually has like 100,000 views, is one that was going through and reviewing all of Carcassonne. And there is, I wouldn't say a Christmas version, but there is Carcassonne Winter Edition.
Okay.
It's pretty close. Now, that should be noted that Carcassonne Winter Edition, and this gives you an idea how desperate they can be. Carcassonne Winter Edition is exactly the same game as Carcassonne in every way. Nothing was changed. All they did was put snow on the tiles.
Okay.
It's basically just Carcassonne with snow. There's another one called the Christmas game. There's a lot of variations of the Christmas game. I don't know if they're similar, but yeah, there's also one based on the Christmas Story, which is a very famous movie. But I thought that was interesting that there were games that I didn't even know that were Christmas themed. The Final Girl one was interesting. The Master Chocolatier, I don't know if that's a Christmas theme, but I do know that I see that game a lot around Christmas time. I saw it last year when it first came out. I see it around time. There is a version of Betrayal. I don't know. I gotta check on this. Yes, Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is a very famous horror game betrayal mechanic. There is a Christmas themed version. Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in Winter's Pale, came out in 2023. Adds 2 new rooms, items, events, and 2 unique characters controlled by a single player. Jingle, Claus, and Elf, who start the game on the upper landing and have unique abilities. Yes, there is a Christmas version of Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Well. I did enjoy Betrayal at the House of the Hill, I have to say. So that is one that it would interest me immensely. I'm taking also a look at some Christmas-based games. Of course, Christmas Lights, the card game, is there, which is good for kids. What else? What else we have? Meeple Christmas, no. Cards Crumble Elf Will Ferrell Christmas movie game. There is a Home Alone Keep the Change board game as well.
There's a card game based on Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that.
So yeah, and
I don't know what to say to that.
When I was working at the Calendar Club many years ago, before I got into full-time game design, one of the games that they were selling was the Festivus board game. You might not know what that is.
Nope.
So Festivus was a invented holiday that was created by the sitcom Seinfeld.
Okay.
So Happy Festivus was Festivus for the rest of us. That was the line from the movie. So it was basically a completely nonsensical, fictitious holiday for those people who don't want to celebrate any religious holiday or anything that has a religious origin. So if you don't want to celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, just celebrate Festivus, because Festivus for the rest of us, that's where the term comes from. And it originated in Seinfeld, and there's actually a board game that comes out around Christmas time where you play the board game of Festivus. I have not played it. I just know that I have sold it.
Okay, fair enough. We'll probably have a go on that. Okay, I have a few game suggestions for the role player or geek in your heart. Suggestion number 1. Get your gamer a 3D printer. Right now, you can buy a 3D printer for about a couple of $100, 150 even. You can get a resin printer like an Elegoo, like the one I have, for about $100 odd dollars, and you will make that geek incredibly happy because they will be able to print their own minis and their own little pieces of scenery and their own little monsters for their games. So that is a must-have. In fact, I am thinking about buying one for myself, getting rid of my resin printer because it can only print little things. It because it's very old. My printer is already 3 years old. So I want a big one so I can print big shit. So Martin can go completely bananas when he sees the dust accumulating on all the knickknacks that we don't need. So that is one thing. The second thing is go to Dragon Shield and get something from Dragon Shield. I have a player companion box sort of thing, which is like a pizza box. And it's been designed for you to be able to have inside your book, your dice, your pens, and even has a slot where you can have a tablet. So you can use it around the table. They also have the most amazing GM screen ever.
Ooh.
It's expensive, but my God, it's so well worth it. And eventually I will have one because they look unbelievable, really unbelievable. Third thing that you can get, your geek, a set of illuminated dice. There are a bunch of dice. They cost about $40, $40 American, the box, and they are they charge inside this case. They are USB powered, and when you roll them, the number lights up. They look super gorgeous, really, really, really good fun. Absolutely adore it. Third thing that you could get your geek. Oh, is it the fourth? Fourth thing, get any indie game. Any. Go and buy a couple of zines. Go and make your indie author happy and buy one of those. That's it. And if you want to do something a little bit more glamorous, any of the starter sets from Free League, the Blade Runner or the Alien starter set, if your friend is into science fiction, the Dragonbane, if they are into fantasy, or the Zweihander as well, the Call of Cthulhu or the RuneQuest starter sets are very, very well worth it. Get a starter set for a game that they haven't played, though. Get them something that they haven't seen yet. I think a starter set is absolutely amazing and very, very easy way to get into a different game. And all of those I've mentioned have enough to keep you and get you going for a very, very long time with role-playing games, with the games in particular. And you won't be spending more than $30, perhaps $35. And believe me, people will love you. So that's my list of 5 things to gift people this Christmas. I could think of more, but those definitely worth it.
The interesting point, and I don't know if this is worthy of a next segment, but do you guys have Black Friday?
Yes.
Which I think is interesting because you don't celebrate Thanksgiving at the end of November.
No, but the problem is that anything that happens in the US and is successful for money and capitalism, it's exported very, very quickly everywhere else. We didn't have in Spain Black Friday until a few years ago, and then it exploded, and now it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, and it's horrible.
Now, I've worked in retail. Sorry, I had worked in retail from 1993 or 1992 until 2018. That's how long I worked in retail. And so I made comments to the fact that I've worked the holidays for over 30 years. So I'd say 30 years, nice even number. And the thing about Black Friday popped up in Canada, I would say in the mid to early 2000s. That's when Black Friday, that gives you an idea how late in the game we were, that we didn't start doing Black Friday until the mid 2000s. Until then, We had Boxing Day, which is got a British origin, obviously Canada being a colony in a way. We adopted that, so we never had Black Friday. We had Boxing Day. So our big sales, our big crazy sales, didn't happen the last Friday before December. It was the day after Christmas. So as a result, Boxing Day became the the sales day. People would go and have Christmas dinner, and then some people would go bed early because they'd have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to these stores because of the insane deals on Boxing Day. And to give you an idea how crazy it was, there once was a time where my sister would leave because she was living elsewhere. She would go home. She would drive past one of the electronic stores. That doesn't matter which one. I'll call it Future Shop, but nobody knows what that is if who's listening. And there were people there already camped out, ready to go into the store when it opened. And sometimes these stores, and just like Black Friday, and this is the funny thing about Black Friday, they're doing the same thing. It's almost comical. Black Friday used to start right at midnight on Friday morning at midnight, and then they started to it used to be like Black Friday was stores open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then over the course of the last 20 years they moved it to midnight, and now they don't even try to do it. Now the Boxing Day starts on Thursday and Wednesday and so forth. There are still some places that still insist, like online stores will still insist that their Boxing Day, Black Friday sale doesn't start until midnight. But in Canada, Boxing Day was absolutely enormous. And so I had to work every Boxing Day for 30 years straight. I never had a day off on the 26th. Even when I was working in the big box retailer, the story was if you worked in food, the food half of the store, you had to work every day leading up to, but you got to have the 26th and 27th off. You got to have 2 days off at Christmas because the 25th, the store was closed. So the 25th and 26th, the food people had a day off. For the GM side, which is me, the general merchandise, non-food, I got to have the 24th and the 25th off. And of course, having an asshole manager, he was trying to stop us from doing that. And we all said, no, we all take 2 days off for Christmas. Food gets the 25th and 26th. Everyone else gets the 24th and 25th. So I would always generally have to go to bed at 10 o'clock on Christmas Day because I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning or sometimes 4:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning to get to the store to prep for Boxing Day. And it would be a complete clusterfuck, just insane people. But the good point, though, that my day would be over by like 1 o'clock. I get to go home because that would be a full day. I'd work 8 hours.
Well, you know what?
Now,
we don't, in Spain, we don't celebrate Boxing Day. So we get the 24th. Some people, commerce will work on the 24th up until about 7 p.m. Then we'll have the 25th off, and the 26th we're back to work.
Yeah. So for us, the wonderful irony is that about 10 years ago, America adopted Boxing Day. So it's a giant middle finger for us Canadians back to America. America gave us Black Friday, that we had to contend with Black Friday, and then we gave him back Boxing Day. So it's like, if you're going to make us work exhaustively the week before December, we're going to make you all now have to work on Boxing Day. And it was a hilarious thing once I realized, once America, like Walmart and Amazon, they all adopted the Boxing Day sales. And I laughed like a little child as a personal revenge to all those retailers. But the hilarious thing was that, now pointing us towards the topic at hand, there, in the last 7 or 8 years, with the onset of Amazon and online storefronts. So you should never, ever buy your board games off of Amazon. I'll just say it now. Mm-hmm. Amazon generally don't have good prices on board games. At least in Canada and the US, Amazon has the worst prices on board games. They don't even have a good selection. So you go to other retailers. Now, you can say Cool Stuff Inc. is an example. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite retailers, Noble Knight Games, has an online storefront. And in Canada, you've got 401 Games, you have Board Game Bliss, and Great Board Games. And every one of these companies does a Black Friday sale that starts right at midnight. So, if you're usually on the East Coast, I'm in BC. So at 9 o'clock on Thursday on Black Friday, boom, the site would reset and 600 titles of board games would pop up at insane prices. And then they would do the same thing again on Boxing Day. Now, Nicole, my wife, I would say 20% of our board games were bought through the Black Friday Boxing Day sale. 1 year, I think we spent $600 on board games through those sales. I would say five or $600 at least. We were opening 15, 16 games on Christmas Day. And then we would do the whole thing again. We would order $200 or $300 worth of games on Black Friday. We would get the games, we would wrap them, we would open them on Christmas Day, and then a few hours later, go online to the Boxing Deal and order some more. So we have probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of games that were purchased, and some of these discounts are 40 to 50% off in some situations. We're saying $50, $60 off of $100 games. Now, this was wonderful, and there were some great games we picked up. The issue in the last 2 years is that it became very clear that those sales were just a means to get rid of all their games that they weren't selling. So if you wanted to get a game that runs a 6 or a high 5 on Board Game Geek, wait for a Boxing Day or a Black Friday sale, because then you can get that game for half price. Now, for those people saying, well, what should I get my kid or something? I'd say, if you want to get board games, then wait for Black Friday and wait until midnight and then go onto the storefront. Because even if you don't want one of these games that are heavily reduced, they generally will still have 5 to 10% off, depending on the threshold of the amount you buy. So for those people who are curious, like, what should I get someone? It's now a week. It's less than it's a week before Christmas. You know, at the time of this recording, it's the 17th of December. The time of this posting, it's way going to be less than a week. What do I get now? Well, what you think you could do is that you can easily get gift cards for these online storefronts, whether it's Cool Stuff Inc., Noble Knight Games, Great Board Games, 401, or Board Game Bliss. If you're in Canada, Board Game Bliss is who you want to go with. The other ones don't do nearly as much. If you're French, the Dice Owl is another example. If you're in America, Noble Knight would be my preference. But these places often sell gift cards. Then the person who receives this gift can go on to the Boxing Day sale, which is now going to happen because Americans can't avoid profit. And they can go on these storefronts, and then they can purchase games and potentially get a very, very deep discount.
Okay.
And there's probably tons of other stores that I haven't mentioned or board game stores that run Boxing Day sales. So if you really, really want board games, wait till Boxing Day, go to your local game store. You're probably going to see some heavy, heavy discounts on sales.
Well, and with that, I think we can wrap it up because I really have nothing else. I've been working so hard over the last few days and weeks to finish a project I need to finish before Friday that I haven't really had a chance to either play or read an awful lot. I'm still reading The Electric State. I haven't finished it. What was that?
This is my latest obsession for those people who don't see it. My wife is big on Lego.
Higher.
This is Technic Lego. I haven't played with Technic Lego in my entire life. I'm a full adult man. I'm 50 years old, and now I'm building Technic Lego. So that's my latest thing. So, yes, I did. By the way, before you run off, you sent me that site that have like 100+ amazing gifts for geeks to satisfy every geek genre imaginable. The vast majority of the things on this list I would never want. And I would never buy. Most of them were from Etsy. The prices can range from astronomical to ludicrous.
Yes.
So if you're buying things for a geek, just the buyer beware. Do some research. Don't just get don't pick up novelties for the sake of novelty.
Well, there are a couple of things that I would definitely buy for the sake of buying it, even though they are enormously expensive. I just saw a Lovecraft octopus art chandelier. And I think I just speed myself a little bit because, oh my God. And they have a few resin lamps that are just gorgeous, super duper gorgeous. There is a Godzilla lamp, which is just to absolutely die for. So yeah,
Did you?
I
Yeah.
will have the link in the show notes because there are some things in there that look incredible, truly incredible, and there are others that look absolutely like, what the fuck is
Did,
this?
did you see the 8 workstation octagonal role-playing table with central daylight and smoke effect feature that cost $13,000?
No, but I'm just looking at a Dragon Ball geeky lingerie
Oh,
dress, which is like, why? How can I unsee that, please? I need to unsee that. So anyway, I will leave the the link in the show notes for everyone to enjoy themselves. Also, there are an awful lot of Harry Potter shit. Please avoid that shit. Don't buy Harry Potter shit. Buy other shit. That's not Harry Potter shit.
do not buy it. It is a piece of shit.
Yes.
My on another on another quick thing to add. You mentioned 3D printers.
Yeah.
If someone wants to get something different and has an amazing investment opportunity,
Mhm.
look into the chocolate 3D printers.
Oh. How much does
So
it
yeah,
cost?
I think that, unfortunately, unlike what you mentioned before, these do cost quite a bit. I think they are looking at about $1,000 to $2,000, but they do print extremely detailed. Like you can get like a 6 or 7 inch chocolate version of the Eiffel Tower with all the little details put in.
You
The
know,
only
I know
downside with it is that the chocolate is not cheap. So if you were trying to resell this, like so many people with a 3D printer, the novelty, the novelty kind of can wear thin if you're selling an Eiffel Tower chocolate for $12.
well, maybe, but I know somebody who would probably die because they absolutely love chocolate and they would be printing and eating constantly. So, anyway, I think that's that's enough for today. Human means I don't know if we're going to record next week because it's the 23rd, and I don't know where we will be. Preparing.
Yeah, but yeah, probably skipping just because we've had our Christmas episode, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then what we'll do for the week after is that we'll have our list for our gaming new resolutions, things that we want to do, things that we want to play, and our plans in the gaming for the new year. What would we like to play and like to see happen in the new year?
I like that very much. Until then, humans, we would love to know what's in your wish list for this festive season. And so please let us know. It would be lovely to hear from you. Just get in touch in Blue Sky or Facebook, where you will be most welcome, of course. Get in touch in email at podcast@gmsmagazine.com or on TikTok, which you would be also very cool to have you around. And that's me.
Hi, this is Chris from Deus Ex Machina. Find me at Deus Ex Machina online, on Blue Sky, on Facebook. You won't find me on X. I'm not there anymore, but you will find me on Blue Sky, on all the other social media, and even on Reddit under Deus Ex Machina. Although I don't post there nearly probably that much as I should. But yes,
I don't know how it really works. So anyway, have a very, 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 very happy festive season, Christmas, Hanukkah, or whatever it is that you happen to celebrate, and sincerely hope that you have plenty of reasons to celebrate. If anything, just to tell 2024 to go the fuck away and never come back, because what a shit show of a year it's been for an awful lot of people. So fuck you, 2024.
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah. You'll go, will 2025 be better? I don't know. I'm not getting that vibe yet.
I don't know. We'll find out in due course. But until then, thank you very much, everyone, and have a very, very happy time.